truly believe in the magic.
Hey Magic fans, and welcome to Penny for Your Thoughts, the podcast of Orlando Magic UK. I'm Paul, host for this week, and we're going to be taking a look at all things Magic and have some fun along the way, as we are going to be joined by George Galante, or Galante, whatever you want to pronounce it, and Dante Marchitelli. As always, I'm joined by Santa's little helpers, Mikey Clark and Gavan Jones. G, how you doing?
All right, thank you, mate. Couple more days in work until I'm off for Christmas, so countdown is on, mate.
Good man, good man. Kicking back and relaxing with something tonight?
Absolutely.
Good man.
This is charged with a Bud Light, so yeah, it's Christmas after all.
Absolutely, pal. Got to start celebrations early. Mikey, how's you, mate?
I'm on the hard orange squash, mate. I'm going all out tonight.
Well, I'm supplementing. I've got orange squash here and whiskey.
Oh,
there,
mate,
so.
that's cheating. You're just washing it back.
No, mate, I've not. To be fair, I've not had enough liquid today, so I'm behind on the daily intake of drinks. So I'm having to catch up.
You just need to top your whiskey glass up, then. That's all you need to do.
Oh, mate, well, don't worry about that. That'll be okay. that'll be charged again shortly. A nice single malt.
In Mikey's defence, so he did have a cider on the weekend.
I did have a cider.
We met in Bristol.
How about your heavy drinking weekend, Mikey?
No. That's Christmas Day. We'll leave it for Christmas Day when I get home from seeing the family. But yeah, two of anybody's mates.
Is that because you need one when you've got home from seeing the family?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, always. Anyway, we got yeah. No, in fact, Boxing Day we will definitely, because we got a nice early tip off on Boxing Day. Was it 8:30 against the Heat? So
8:30, yeah.
We'll have a few ciders for that one, no doubt.
Yeah, we'll be coming to that one shortly when we talk about the predictions and the week ahead. But should we get into the Magic news? It's been a big old week, really.
There's a lot to cover.
Do it.
Oh yes. We had on the 17th 4 emergency hardship signings due to COVID. So we took Aleem forward, Hassan Grant. Oh God, Hassani Gravett. I can't believe
It started.
We're not even 5 minutes in, and I can't speak already. So I'll start again on that. We took Aleem Ford, who's a forward, Hassani Gravett, guard, BJ Johnson, guard and forward, and Admiral Schofield, who's a forward, from Lakeland Magic on 10-day contracts. They came straight into the team on the 17th and played in the home loss to Miami by 115 to 105 points. Even though we were well below strength, we kept with the Heat all night, gave them a really good game. 18th, what a week, what a day, trip to Brooklyn, and a 100-93 victory. A lot of spirit shown in that win. And then 19th, unfortunately, the game in Toronto that we were due to play on the following day, on the 20th, was postponed. And as of today, the Magic have signed 2 further players onto 10-day contracts. Tim Frazier, who is a free agent guard, and Freddie Gillespie, who is also a free agent, plays forward. Frazier has played 277 NBA regular season games, including 81 starts. A bit of a journeyman: Philadelphia, Portland, New Zealand. Oh, for God's sake, New Orleans, Washington, Milwaukee.
You say New Zealand?
Yeah.
Since when is New Zealand the team?
I'll tell you, that is hell of a road trip. I'm not sure which conference they're in, but that is a road trip.
Wow.
Oh, God. Anyway, and Gillespie has played 20 games with 2 starts during his rookie campaign last season with Toronto Raptors. So, as of this moment, we have an active roster of Franz Wagner, Michael Mulder. What is it? Right, where's tonight?
By the way, Paul's only just started drinking. He's better as he goes on.
Mate, if it's anything like when we used to play Guitar Hero, I needed 2 or 3 Jack Daniels to get into. I think that was kind of the point where you got the rock star going. Sober, could not play it. Get me a few drinks down me. Genius. But anyway, back to this roster. Gary Harris, Chuma Akiki, Robin Lopez, Aline Ford, Asani Gravett, BJ Johnson, Admiral Schofield, Tim Frazier, and Freddie Gillespie. We've got a whole host of injuries, 12 of them. No need to run through all those. Mikey, what's your thoughts on the week, apart from how poorly I can speak?
It's been a tough week. We talked about this before we started recording. It is starting to look like we might be heading for games that might start getting be played behind closed doors because of COVID and all the variants and everything and the contagiousness of it. See, you're contagious. It's catching. Yeah, it's been a difficult week. Obviously, we're just plugging gaps with whoever's really available and whoever we can sign last minute to at least fill the roster, because you have to have eight available a night. But all things considering, it was very competitive against Miami. We saw Franz Wagner running the point guard position for the last two games, which has been really interesting, because you think of all those years with Aaron Gordon, and there was times when we had to plug him in that position. You're thinking, yeah, point AG, and it didn't really work. And Franz just does everything so well, doesn't he? So yeah, big 27 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists against Miami. He was the big standout player for that. And then obviously we got the win in Brooklyn, and they were just as banged up and injured and had enough players out with COVID as well. So it was like watching a G League game for parts of that. But look, it is what it is at the moment. They're making the best of the situation. Let's hope we can the NBA can start to control this, where we can start seeing players back out on the floor and more competitive games, because they're just ticking boxes at the moment and just getting games played, which is understandable. But yeah, we got a win, so that was good.
We got to win. Gee, what's been your highlight or positive of the week?
I'll get to the positive in a second. I've got one little gripe. One thing I wasn't particularly happy about, Chicago were moaning. They had 10 people in COVID protocols. They got their week schedule cancelled. So, of course, we had 5 people in COVID. We had, 6 or 7 injured, so 11 or 12. And my little gripe was the fact the NBA didn't cancel the game against Miami and Brooklyn. Now, I get we won, etc., against Brooklyn, so I shouldn't really complain. But my small little gripe is we couldn't field a 8-man team, so they should have cancelled it for me from the Miami game and including the Brooklyn game, because I don't think Brooklyn had enough bodies either. They had to do some emergency signings. So aside from that, I feel that every team should be treated equally, be it COVID or injury wise. We couldn't field 8 players. Now I know they've since given us these emergency signings, etc. So they are dealing with it. But anyway, positives then. I thought we've had great 2 games out of Franz Wagner, as Mikeys touched upon.
Yep.
Gary Harris has really shown his worth in those 2 games also. And Robin Lopez, my gosh, feed Robin, that little post hook. Oh my God, it's beautiful, isn't it? So
it's automatic with him. Absolutely automatic.
Really, really good. And then it was nice to see the re-emergence of Chuma Okeke as we knew him from last season. Those last 2 games, given a bit more responsibility, given the green light to fire and take the shots that we know he can make. And he came through, in fairness, against Brooklyn, nailing a couple of shots down the stretch. So all in all, you can't really complain. Friday was, it was almost like a bit of a scrimmage game with a lot of new players playing, and the same again on Saturday. So to go 1-1, not a bad return. So all in all, yeah, a pretty successful week.
I'm going to take, for me, the positive of the week has been that with the emergency signings, having those guys come in from Lakeland, having such a close affiliation to the G League team that is so close to Orlando, and playing it, and the Lakeland playing in such a similar manner to the Magic, it bore benefit because those guys just slotted straight into the systems. And you looked at the difference between how we played against Brooklyn and what they did and what Brooklyn had to do, where they got players coming in that they'd signed who were free agents who weren't familiar with the system. And you could see there was a lot less familiarity, is perhaps the wrong word, but understanding of the systems. And as such, our guys signed on the emergency hardship contracts really did fit in. And I thought that showed really good forethought by the Magic to have the affiliation with a team so close that they can feed guys in. I thought that was really good. And they've worked hard. You think of them, they've played, the Lakeland guys has played 4 games in 5 days, including travel on all 5 days. That's some going. That's some going. I love the story of, I think it was Dante came out with it in one of his timeout segments. I think it was the Miami game, or it was about the just having to grab everything out of the dryer and chuck it back into his suitcase, and off we go again. It just shows how they want to take the opportunity, and I think it's worked well. I think they've come in and really played well.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I did mention, the 4 guys, Gravett, Ford, Johnson, and Schofield did very, very well. And like Paul just mentioned, knowing the same system from having Lakeland down the road is very beneficial. I mean, you look at Miami, and I think their G League affiliates in Sioux Falls, which is, a long way away from Miami. They couldn't just call somebody up. So, no, the Magic have got a great blueprint there for succeeding.
So, should we get into a guest section and get this pair of madcap idiots on?
That's just me and G.
Well, yeah, Santa's little helpers. Let's do it. Let's get George and Dante in. We are now joined by 2 very familiar faces. First of all, in his 27th season with the Orlando Magic, Senior Director of Communication, co-host of Magic Pod Squad, it is George Galante. How are you doing, George?
I'm good. That's the nicest introduction anybody's ever given me. That's really nice. Fantastic.
So you're not the director of communications anymore? Did you get a promotion?
Yeah, last year I got a promotion, I think, or 2 years ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. It took 11 years, but I finally got one, so it's fine.
I made sure I checked the media guide to get the title correct.
Paul's the only one that reads it, so we're good. We're good. I make it just for Paul every summer.
I don't want to upset the 2 most awesome guys that we have come on. So hey, it's got to be right. It's got to be right.
That's right. You're talking about me and Garen. I appreciate it.
I thought it was me and Mikey. That's okay.
There you go. That's all right.
I'll take any team that you want. They're all good.
That's
all
right.
Good.
That's right.
And who's already almost introduced himself here, the Orlando Magic sideline reporter, 23rd season with the team, and now voice of Lakeland Magic. Dante, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing great. Are you getting this?
I got
I got a little Christmas show. Good. Look at you guys.
George, do you feel a bit left out?
I do,
mate.
I didn't get the memo.
No, nor did
Mikey
I.
has his Christmas sweater on. I got nothing. I have a T-shirt on, so it's
well,
good.
At least you bothered to put on a white undershirt.
Right. Just a shirt.
No, we're doing good, guys. We're doing good. It's always good to see you guys. It's a little crazy over here. As you can imagine, the last couple of days in the sports world, in this country, in the world. I know you guys are feeling it too. So everybody's doing our best to stay safe, and we hope you guys are okay too.
I was just about to ask, George, how's the pressure at work at the moment?
All good. My daughter just bailed me out. My daughter just bailed me out, so now I'm in. I'm a part of the crew now. It's been wild. It's been a wild. I don't even know what day it is now. I think it's Tuesday. It's ever since Friday, the 17th there, when all the positive cases started coming down. It's been It's been a challenge. Let's say that it's been a challenge just having all these roster transactions and new rules. And I think we have 23 guys on the roster now. So that's new. But yeah, we're just trying to take each, I mean, I can't even say we're taking each day by day now. It's almost like we're taking each hour, by the hour. It's really something comes up every 30 minutes, it seems like. And it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. But we're plugging along.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time out to join us because we were aware of how mental this period of time must be for you. So thanks hugely for coming on. We really do appreciate it.
No,
and Dante,
our pleasure. Real quick, I just got a question. I wonder if, and not to make light of anything, because obviously it's a very serious thing, but George, do you know, but we got to have contingency plans in place and this and that. How many people have to catch COVID before you and I get to play?
I thought I had a shot. I thought I had a legit shot on Friday night. I thought my dreams were finally going to come true. And then I thought if I wasn't going to play that night, I'm never going to play. So,
that's a good point.
Let's just G was at Cardiff Airport ready to get on a plane and come over. He got the full kit and everything, got the boots out, the lot.
Yeah, then my mom got excited. She thought it was my shot. So, but, alas, it wasn't. So.
They didn't let you go to security though, G, did they?
No, they didn't.
Yeah, you have to check out G's 3-point shooting videos. You're not too bad at it, are you, matey? You've got a reasonable shot on you. You've got a reasonable shot on you. And Dante, how's the new job?
New job is great, man. I tell you what, it was different for me doing Lakeland games because I've not done play-by-play except for a couple of Magic games when David Steele had to miss since George and I did Summer League. Really. And I don't know that you'd call that play-by-play.
No, I don't know what you would call that.
It was.
It was. So it's been a while since I've done it. So jumping right into it, I mean, it was a lot. But I tell you, Nick Grunowitz, who I do the games with, he's been there since day one when they started, which I believe was 17, right? 2017 in Lakeland. So he's done every game. And so to have his knowledge of every player, of every scenario that Lakeland's been through was fantastic. And then we just had fun. So it's been, ironically, with knowing a lot more than I would have normally about these Lakeland guys, when we called up for them the other day, it was kind of a big help to at least not be coming in cold. I mean, we would have got caught up pretty quickly anyway, but to have a little background, and I had already spoken to a lot of those guys down in Lakeland, so it kind of laid the groundwork for that. So it was good. It's been a lot of fun. Dream come true for me to get to do play-by-play, and it's been a lot of fun, and it helped us. It helped us in that last game.
That's quality, man. Right. We've got to get into some of these questions that we've got for you, Per, because you guys have got a lot of good stories and we want to tap into as much as we can. So, first of all, as a pairing, what's the favourite feature that you've done? G came up with what did Hedo say, however you want to say it, because I'm going to get it wrong.
That's a good one.
Or, when you had Vooch in the earpiece, what would you be What would you be a favorite, and any stories from those guys?
Dante, you want to go first?
I kind of have two. I guess my first. What did Hedo say? I don't think we could have ever predicted what that would become. I mean, we just knew we had trouble understanding him, and we thought if we were the same way, probably the same way with a lot of other people. And he was the perfect guy to have fun with it. He was okay with us having fun with that whole thing because he knew that he didn't say things the right way. And so he allowed that to happen, which was, first of all, kudos to him. And then it took off. And then his teammates would laugh about it, and it became a great segment. And I think number two would have to be when we retired Marcin Gortat's Summer League jersey. After he played in his 4th or 5th Summer League, we put it on an old plastic hanger with a little piece of chicken wire, and we raised it up with his little 13. And it wasn't even a real jersey. It was just his little practice Summer League jersey. And he goes, "Wow, guys, this is really something." we made a big deal. Those come to mind for me, George. I think those were two of my favorites.
Those are definitely very high up there. And I was going to say, I had Hedo. What did Hedo just say? Because that's obviously, and that's all Dante was Dante's idea. He really was the one that came up with that. And I just had to make sure that Hedo, was okay with us making fun of him, which thankfully he was. So he really didn't care. The thing that I liked, I had two other ones actually, and they go back to when we had our television show, was we used to have a caller. This was before, we didn't really have Zoom or FaceTime or anything like that. And we had figured out a way to have, fans call in or somewhat call in and be a part of the show. And we used to have this one guy his name was Brandon. And we used to have this kid, Brandon, call in, and he made up songs for the guests. And we had Matt Barnes, the one year we had the show, and we had Matt Barnes, who's this tough guy. He's a pretty, and we had this kid come on the show, and he sung a rap song that he made to Matt Barnes, and it just went Matt Barnes, Matt Barnes. And that had me rolling for days. That one.
And he would jump up. It was by himself. And then when it got to the chorus,
then he had
all of a sudden, like 5 or 6 other people jumped into the scene, and they were all jumping around with him. It was good. So well done.
Yeah, that was good. Well, and then I think an underutilized one that I think if we would have had more time and maybe thought of some more things was we had a segment called Ask JJ, which I liked, where we also took in some random we like to have non-sports, random questions. And we put JJ in a smoking jacket and stuck him by a fireplace with a snifter and had him just, answering questions from the fans of like dating advice and how should he prepare his food and things like that nature. So that was fun. He actually told us we had him on. Did we have him on or was he on?
We had him on. Yeah.
And he said, you guys were ahead of your time a little bit. You missed your window. If you would have come up like, with all this stuff like 10 years later, think of all the content you would have. And he's right, because now our crack staff has lost a lot of that content that we made. So yeah.
But we had the wheel. We had a player that that had a touchy past and had gotten incidents and altercations. So we decided to come up with a wheel of touchy topics. So we had all of his prior transgressions on a wheel, and he would spin it, and whatever it landed on, we'd have to talk about. And sometimes we'd just move it right on there and just try anything we could do to make it uncomfortable or embarrassing for our guests was our goal.
That was amazing.
Which is a horrible goal of a host.
Yeah, I don't know how we still have jobs now to talk about some of this stuff. It's really
can't do that stuff.
It's really tough to.
Can you imagine if we did that as a podcast? That would be man.
I know exactly. We found if you go back and watch Dwight Howard in the dunk contest when he had the Superman cape, you will see the one where Jameer Nelson threw him the bounce pass. Yeah. You'll see right after Dwight has the dunk, and then Jameer is so happy and runs over and jumps up like to bump chests with him. But Dwight doesn't see him there and runs right by him. And Jameer just jumps in the air all by himself and kind of lands down. And we caught it. Somehow one of us saw it on video. We played it for both of them. And then they, every game they would recreate it on the court after. It was pretty fun. We had a lot of fun, but all of that comes from George and his relationship with these guys and making sure that they were okay with it. It was all in fun. And we're just trying to come up with some good content. And that's what made this thing work.
Yeah, brilliant, superb. And Paul's just mentioned the summer league games we used to call, in the mid-noughties. It was a lot of fun listening to them, obviously. How much fun did you have with them? And also, can you just tell us about the Oklahoma City Thundercats story?
Oh, man. Well, it all started, we've probably talked about this before. It all started when, again, streaming things, it wasn't a thing, right? It didn't exist. We didn't have the capabilities like we have now. And we had just started. We put a small coach's camera up in the RDV. That we called it the perch because it was like a ledge, and the coaches used that area to film practice. And they would film practice just with a camera, just for their own, so they could go back and look at practice and see what they need to work on. So one day, whoever was in charge, Michelle Andres, who's now with the Baltimore Ravens, she was in charge of OrlandoMagic.com. And she had come up with the idea of sending a feed through that camera, through the internet, and showing the games because they weren't open to the public. It was a closed gym. And then after the first day, she had the bright idea of sending Dante up to do play-by-play because you couldn't really see, you couldn't tell who was who when you're watching it on the feed. You just saw 5 guys running around. You had no clue who anybody was. And so she said, well, Dante, can you go do the games? And then Dante said, well, as long as George comes up there with me, I'll do it. And I was like, yeah, I got nothing else to do. So we went up there and we had every intention, and Dante, just jump in whenever you want. We had every intention of calling the games straight, like Dante would be the play-by-play guy. I would add a couple of tidbits here and there. And we were just going to call the games. But then as the games went on, number one, we realized we didn't have a whole lot of information on any of these guys because there weren't a lot of NBA players, and there still aren't. When you watch a summer league game, you have, it's the same. You have your draft picks who are, those are names for the most part. And then you round out the rosters with 15 to 20 guys that you will never see again after that week for the most part. They'll go back to Europe, or they'll go nowadays, maybe they'll play in the G League, but these are, and with the G League, I think was in its infancy at that point. And so we just was 17 guys that you had no shot of ever making an NBA roster. And you're just watching these games, and Dante and I are looking at each other and like, wow, these games are rough. These games are real. How are we going to, and we had 4
I think the big breakthrough though was when George just blurted out, Dante, I am bored. Like, these games are bad. Like, on the air. So we're doing the game. Like, this is bad basketball. Like, do we have to do the whole game? Like, can we talk about something else? And that's when we said, well, let's see. What would you like us to talk about? And then it just became, but back then, there was no social media. There was no Twitter. There was none of that stuff. So it was emails. You had to email us. So we set up an email account where people could email us. And, oh, man, we quickly found out a lot of the players' family was listening and watching and all of that. So we found out that, we were getting feedback from them. But then people were just testing us. What will these guys talk about? And we answered literally every email that we came across.
And then it came to the point where we weren't even watching the game anymore. We were getting, there was at one point where we had 10 to 12,000 emails during the day because I would set up a laptop next to where we were set up, and I'm just hitting refresh and just trying to keep up with the emails. And initially we're like, we'll get like 10 or 12 and we'll read them on the air and it'll be funny. And then the next thing you know, it's just, they're coming in by the hundreds. And you realize that it was reaching a lot of people. And we just decided to go with the rest of the summer league like that because we felt like it was gaining traction for the website, because who are these 2 yahoos on here, just goofing off during a game. But
we had Oklahoma City had just left, to Garrett's point too. Right. They had just left Seattle. We knew they were going to be, and it was like an Oklahoma City, New Orleans hodgepodge. And they knew they weren't going to be the Sonics, but they hadn't come up with a name yet. So George and I looked at each other and we said, well, let me just go with Thundercats. Like, let's call them the Thundercats and just go with that, because we love the cartoon. Like, there used to be a cartoon over here, Thundercats. We do that. And then so we went with that, and we just said, hey, we got it on authority that it's going to be the Oklahoma City Thundercats. Well, George, was it the Oklahoman? Like, somebody got a hold of it.
Yes. Yeah, it was the Oklahoman,
their main newspaper,
which is the main newspaper in Oklahoma City. That all of a sudden it was a story that they were going to be named the Thundercats. And then very shortly after that, they were named the Thunder.
The Thunder.
And so we kind of looked at each other. We're like, this is a little too convenient that all of a sudden they're the Thunder now. But
we never got our proper credit for that, because I think they heard Thundercats and said, "Ooh, Thunder could work. I like Thunder." Right. And then the other thing is, we now have an employee that works with us. And I don't want to give away his identity, but it's Dan Savage. And he used to work at the NBA. And he said, I was up there when you guys were doing summer league. He goes, and once they realized there was traction, he goes, then they decided to put it on TV, and we were out of business. But it all potentially came from the feedback and the interaction we got from doing those summer league games. So just a thank you from the NBA would have been nice. Just a nice card.
or check. Or a check.
Or a check.
Or from Oklahoma City.
Oh, brilliant.
Fantastic.
Oh,
So a little bit of humor. What's the most nervous you've either done an interview for or been a part of? And what's the worst interview you've ever done? And you're not allowed to include our interview you did on us in 2016.
No.
That was going to be the worst interview we've ever done.
The worst interview I've ever done, and I don't want to single out anybody, but we had a player, Andrew Nicholson, and it was very hard for me to get, and I think he was just a nervous guy, but it was hard for me to get much out of him. And I think he was just quiet, and we didn't talk to him a ton. But I don't want to say the worst, but I think that was the hardest. Just because he was kind of shy and quiet. So for me, I think that we always kind of struggled with that. But I think the most nervous, remember, George, when we talked to the great Tommy Heinsohn? Tommy Heinsohn, Commissioner Silver.
I was going to say.
We were nervous about that one. We had a couple of Kevin McHale. I was nervous about that one. So we had some big ones.
So all the Celtics, Dante was very nervous about. All the Celtics he grew up idolizing. Yeah, he was terrified of.
I actually watched that on YouTube yesterday.
Yeah.
So
is that right?
That's awesome.
On YouTube. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, those were, I would say for me, those were right. I was probably the most nervous.
Adam Silver was the one that I was going to say that I was the most nervous about, just because first of all, I don't know how Joel Glass pawned that off as like, oh yeah, our web guys want to talk to you while you're here. And he's like, oh, sounds great. I'll do that. And like, little did he know he's on with us. And I was nervous that we were going to, not you, Dante, because you're a professional. I'm just some schmo. Like I thought I was going to say something really stupid. But that actually worked out. It worked out pretty well. That was a good one. That's the most nervous. I get very excited, especially when we were in those playoff runs and we had the show and we just kept, we got a lot of people to do the show that if we tried to do it today, it would never happen. It just would never happen. We got Ernie Johnson and we got Tommy, Kevin McHale. We had just a slew of guys that
Bill Simmons when he was in his heyday.
Simmons, right?
Not that he's not now, but when he was first starting, and then of course Dwight. Dwight was always such a big personality, and JJ and Turk. I mean, we had guys that were well known around the NBA and in the sports world, and those were always fun. Vince Carter made me a little. I don't know why, but when we had him in studio, I wanted that to go well. Right. I just thought he was only with us for a year and change. It was kind of our first chance to sit down with him. And he's so good. And he's such a great guy. And I didn't think he'd be upset. I just thought that really had a chance to be a good show if he embraced it. And he did. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cool. I met Mikey on the weekend and we were just going back and reminiscing at some of the games we'd been to. And one that stands out is I believe, end of January, early February trip in 2013. It was the first time I met Dante. I bought some expensive seats at the Garden and noticed Dante was down a tunnel. So I shouted over and we had a photo, didn't we, Dante?
Yes,
George,
we did.
I'm still yet to meet you. I keep missing you. It seems like it's impossible.
I'm like the holy grail of meeting people, right? Like,
Gee, just keeps ducking you. He's seen you many times. Other way.
I also don't like people very much, so I tend to.
He gets his media meal and he goes right into his office, so he doesn't have to talk to people. He is impossible to find on game days. You're not alone, Garen.
If you can get into my office, you can come see me.
Cool. So anyway, just going back to that point. So you were in the tunnel at the Garden. So I just wanted to know. A lot of arenas. What are the best arenas where they situate you, and what are the worst ones?
The worst is Atlanta. So if we were there tomorrow, they put me in the corner, and literally the way my table is facing, you can't see the court. You can't see the court. I'm right in front of the railing under the seats. So they got a table wedged into the corner in the tunnel where the Magic go out of to get to their locker room. There's a high top table and one chair, and all of it, if I don't move it or stand up or go out of my seat, I would literally be looking at the stands and I couldn't see one piece of the court. So that's the worst. That makes no sense to me. No sense to me. And then New York is tough. There's nothing like Madison Square Garden. I mean, being in there, and I sit next to Rebecca Harlow, but they don't give us a table. It's just 2 chairs, and then they strap these monitors onto a railing, and you got nowhere to put your things. You're right in the flow of traffic. So that's kind of a weird spot, and it's hard to see the game there. So those are tough. But like Miami, you're right there. Our games are the best. Like where we sit in the room that we have and everything, there's nothing better than our spot. But they take care of us in Miami. Anywhere that we sit courtside is just a great opportunity. And there's probably about half the arenas where we have that seat. So that works out great. Yeah.
How about you, George?
See, I'm different than Dante because I get a really good seat every time. But
we notice you on the television, mate.
Yeah, he's unfortunate because the sideline guys sometimes get bumped off to the side, whereas they have to put the PR guy pretty close to the bench or on the scores table in case there's any problems. So my seats are always good, but he's right about Atlanta. The seat that they put him in Atlanta it's wild. It's literally, if it could be under the bleachers, he would be under the bleachers in Atlanta for sure. There's no doubt about it.
And if you guys got to go back and look at some of these post-game interviews, and you can really see George at his best, right? When he's got to track down players, especially if you go back to, 14 years ago when we were winning playoff games, wherever it was, and we were having, and you'd see the excitement, and he'd give it fist pumps, and he'd be in the huddle, he'd be hugging guys after games. I mean, some of these are fantastic. You got to track down. So that's some of George's best work right there.
Yeah, I have some good photos from back in the day. But I always like Madison Square Garden to me, just because I'm from New York, like that is always going to be. And plus, like I'm into the history side of it. In regards to I like to go to baseball stadiums I've never been to, but stadiums that have like some history behind them. There's really not that kind of aura around the arena in the NBA anymore, only because there's so many new buildings, which as far as the facility itself goes, yes, these buildings need to be torn down and the rats all need to move, and that's all great. But I miss, I never got to go to the Boston Garden because that was, the last year of that was 95. And so that was before my time. That was a place, all the places where I grew up watching games, the Spectrum in Philadelphia, the Boston Garden, the LA Forum, these are all places that I never got to go to. Old Chicago Stadium. There's something to that where the Madison Square Garden is it. There's really, if you look around the landscape of the league, the Madison Square Garden is the only arena back from that era. And so I get a little, and even to this day, we went in the beginning of the year and I get a little bit of a chill when I walk in there. And I don't know why. I don't know why if it's just because I didn't grow up a Knicks fan. But being there just means something. I don't really know how to describe it. Whereas I don't get that feeling walking into the State Farm Arena in Atlanta. There's just something there, or even Staples Center for that matter. And we had some of our, we went to the finals against the Lakers, and I don't get the same feeling walking into the Staples Center as I do walking into Madison Square Garden.
Did you feel that, Garrett? Garrett, did you feel that when you came over?
Oh, absolutely.
You feel this? You know what he's talking about, right? It's just something magical.
Absolutely, yeah. We went to the Garden that trip. We went to the Barclays Center, and I went back to the Garden then to watch the New York Rangers just to get the hockey feel, and it was superb. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
you and Mikey were at the same game, weren't you?
Yeah, both Brooklyn and the Knicks game at the same time, and we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
Funny enough,
funny
enough, when we were looking at photos this weekend, Mikey'd taken a photo from the nosebleeds, and he'd looked down, and I was, I think, 4th row behind the Magic bench, Dante, something like that. And you could see me with my camera, and I I was taking the photo at the same time.
Zooming in, and you could see you in the bottom. Yeah.
Garrett's like, no big deal, just 4 rows behind the bench.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine. Little humble flex for Garrett.
Waving way up to you. Waving way up.
Yeah, it was my 30th birthday present. That was so.
But that was 3 years before we even met anybody.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's wild.
And then I flew up to Boston after New York. So
now, George, these guys are international superstars.
I know. Look at them.
I saw Alex. I seen Alex on this show. I saw Greg Anthony. We can't get Greg Anthony. Greg Anthony was on this show. We see all these guests these guys are getting are phenomenal.
I know. We're
working hard at it. We're working hard, man.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
We're not going to pretend. We do get a lot of help from you guys in assisting us along with it. You guys
have done this. You guys have made this work. That's fantastic.
It's appreciated. Now, part of the content that you put out this week was asking fans who their favourite rookie of all time has been. So, I would like to know, George and Dante, both yourselves, your favourite rookie and any story about interacting with them.
For me, I have a good Mike Miller story, only because at the time they used to send PR people to the draft. It's kind of come and go, and now we're back to actually sending a PR person to the draft. But that when you're there as the PR rep, that you're the first person that the player meets when they get selected, and so I always ended up having some type of bond with those guys that were in New York, because I was in New York, and I can't really describe it, only just that, like, I was their first interaction with the Magic. Right. Mm-hmm. So we drafted Mike Miller in 2000 or 2000. Yeah. 2000 or 99 or whatever. And so you're walking around and you're with, the player, and you're going through a media circuit, and it takes a while. You're with them for a good hour, 2 hours, and their heads are just spinning, and you're trying to just direct them to, okay, we're going to go here for 5 minutes. Now we're going to go here. And you're basically holding their hand but keeping in mind too, that this guy's life just changed, right? Like his whole life has changed in a blink. And we're having a good time. And Mike was, and still is, like, to this day, such a good guy, down to earth. And he had these earrings in, right? Big, huge diamond earrings. And I'm thinking, all right, wow, like those got to be, I mean, that must have cost him a pretty penny, like right off the bat. Guys already so we're talking and we're making small talk about families and this, that, and the other. And I randomly just said, Mike, those earrings are pretty impressive. Like, that had to set you back quite a bit. And he looks at me and he goes, you mean these? He looks and he goes, $7 from Claire's. Like, they're like cubic zirconia. Like, they're not real. Like, they're just and then I looked at him, I started laughing. I go, come on. And he looks at me and just goes, fake it till you make it. You got to fake it till you make it.
That's great.
So even to this day, I've brought it up, and that's one of my favorite rookie stories, was Mike on draft night with these enormous, if you look at pictures from draft night when he got drafted, he's got these enormous, they look like diamonds, but they're not. So that was a pretty good one for me.
That's brilliant.
That is fantastic. We had so many great rookies, and that rookie year with JJ Redick just stands out to me, George, just because it was so much. I don't remember a guy. We drafted Dwight Howard, and he didn't have the fanfare that JJ Redick did coming out of college. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Everywhere we went, and the Duke jerseys and JJ jerseys, and he was on the national stage in 4 years at Duke, an all-time leading scorer. I mean, it was just so much fanfare made about him that following him that whole first year. And he was fun. He didn't play a lot. And I know that was frustrating for him. So we could have interviewed him more, but he didn't play a ton. But anytime we had an interaction with him, it just was always funny. And I never knew if he was messing with you or whatever. But I remember when the movie Departed had just come out. And I remember pulling up to JJ before the game. And I said, hey, can I get you for a couple minutes? I just got to do an interview. And he goes, maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe go F yourself. And he walked away. I remember it was an exact line from The Departed that had just come out. And I couldn't stop laughing. And he circled back around, and we did. I mean, he was fine. But he was just always saying stuff to mess with you and make sure you were on your toes and find out who took themselves too serious and who didn't. But it was just always a funny interaction from what I remember.
That's brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. Okay, Mikey, before you go with your question, I just want to find out from you two as well, who would be your favorite rookie? So, Mikey, you go.
Well, it's hard not to say Cole. I'm just going to take the mick. I'm going to say Andrew Nicholson just to wind Dante up. There we go.
Perfect answer. That's the perfect answer.
Oh, well done. Now, listen, I should have Cole on that list too. Cole has been a lot of fun for us. You're exactly right. The other one, not so much.
Gee, go for it, man, because you go way back, so you've got more scope.
Well, he's my one of two first rookies. It's Matt Harpring. back from the 98. Was it 98 draft?
Yeah.
99.
98.
And he obviously played with Penny, Nick, Horace Grant, Ike Austin, that team that got bounced by Philly in 99. I thought he was hard-nosed, just solid. And I was quite sad when we traded him to Cleveland for Andy de Klerk. But so Matt Harpring always has a little piece of my heart. So
that's great. Wasn't Matt Harpring great? He was great for us. I hated to see Matt go too. It was a hard-nosed player, had one heck of a career.
Yep.
Yeah. And if we do play them, obviously I sometimes just listen to the Jazz broadcast because he was play-by-play, not the play-by-play guy, but Jeff Turner's
color
equivalent.
Commentator.
So that's the one.
Color.
So no, he's a good guy.
Excellent. Excellent. Just one.
Paul, what about you? Well, who's your guy, Paul?
I don't go back as far, obviously, with my fandom. So for pure excitement of the guys from he's only had obviously in his second season, I would be with Cole. There's pure excitement with the guy, and as we all know, great interviews. So yeah, I'm going with Cole. I know it's a
great interviews for Dante, not so much for me.
Tell George to stop trying to reel him in. Like, let him go. Let him do whatever he wants.
I say that now. Then when there's an incident, then all of a sudden everyone's going to be looking at me. Oh, why'd you let him do that?
Then you know what they're going to say? Then you know what they're going to say? Oh, they're 6-25. That's why we let him go. It's okay. It's okay.
Good stuff. So one of the questions we ask some of our UK followers when they come on is like, what's their magic Mount Rushmore, or 1 to 5? What's their all-time magic team? What is your all-time interview team? So point guard, shooting guard, small forward.
I love this question, Mikey. Love this question.
Mount Rushmore of, does it have to go by position? Do we go by position here?
Let's go by position. Let's go by position.
Goodness. Well, George, we can come up with this together, George. Do you think?
Okay.
For me, like I'm a Cole guy, right? Because I just don't know how you don't have him in there. But runners up would be Daryl and Jameer, right? Point guard, do you think?
I would think Daryl Armstrong would be right up there. I mean, he gave some good ones too. I would think your center has to be. You immediately go to Dwight, but then you forget that Shaquille O'Neal was on our team.
But see, I never interviewed Shaq.
That was Shaquille O'Neal. That's true.
That was before me.
Pre you and. Basically pre me, so Dwight has to be the center, right? Tracy McGrady has to.
I mean, Vooch was great.
Yeah,
maybe we can push. Can we push Vooch to the power forward? It's like can we?
Okay,
can we
put
slide
Vooch
him over to the power forward?
Put Vooch at power forward. Yep.
We'll have them both.
Vooch and Dwight. I like that. Center. We can do that.
That's a pretty good front court.
You forgot about Glenn Davis.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that.
Glenn Davis was.
You said favorite interview or. Dante, this is more a question for you because you're the one that interviewed.
Because Ryan Anderson would be my power forward probably.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Ryan Anderson.
Bump him to small forward.
You got to bump him to small forward.
Your roster's already getting tied up here.
This is tough because you got Marchin and you've got Turkaloo and you've got all of these guys. Man, this is tricky. T-Mac was you got to put T-Mac on there. T-Mac was phenomenal. So now we're sitting at what are we sitting at? Cole, T-Mac, Vooch,
we have
Dwight,
to put Hedo in there.
And Ryan. Hedo in there, I know. Can we have 15?
I have a 6-man.
Yeah, good set.
Throw a 6-man in there.
And a 7th man and an 8th man, apparently. Just throw all of that. Put the whole roster on there.
You got to have JJ. You got to have Turk in there. Michael Pietrus was a wild card. I mean, you never knew what you're going to get with him. He was always fun too. Jameer. I mean, there's a lot. We've been very fortunate. A lot of those guys you'll notice were on the same team. That 08-09 team just had so many personalities on it. We were really fortunate to have all the personalities that we've had come through these doors.
Now, before we finish, there's one big question we haven't asked you. Now, is it the Dante and Galante show or is it the Dante and Galante show?
It should be the Dante and Galante show is what it should be. Right. But we all know how this works out. And Dante's on television. He's the this is the moneymaker for Dante right here. This the face. You got to put the moneymaker on TV so he gets top billing. So it's
if this was a moneymaker, we'd be doing national stuff. We'd be doing national stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't realize till 6 months ago that he pronounces it Galante. So I think that was news. That was news to me.
Listen, though, it's not just here though, because you could go back to my college friends and they all think my last name is pronounced Galante, and it's not worth correcting anybody. I've been called way worse, so it's completely fine. Like if that's what people are going to call me, that's okay. It's better than the alternative. So I would defer to that. So
welcome to my world, George.
Right. I've called you like 6 things since we've gotten to know each other over the internet. So
you would have just to call you. If you take the time to meet him in person, you'd get it right.
True. You're right. If I would get gee, maybe in 2026, I'll bump into you at some point. We'll make it a date.
Can we leave you guys with this, George? Would you not say the craziest time of our entire lives, other than the playoffs in Charlotte, when which we won't get into, but would you say the craziest time would be when we were in?
Oh, there's something there. There's something I can't not ask the question, can I?
Well, Dante and I got a little loose during the playoffs in Charlotte. Let's just say we got a little loose and. George got kicked out of an establishment because of my doing. So
George
is totally my fault.
They kindly removed us from said place because of George. Anyway, when we went to China to play the China games, it was in 2007, and George and I and Joel Glass, right, our chief communications officer, are in a helicopter in Hong Kong. Trying to get to practice or trying to get to a game? Was it practice or a game? Trying to get to a game. Would you not say that is the craziest thing? To me, when I think of all the 23 years I've been doing this, that moment comes to mind as what is happening right now. That to me was the craziest thing I've ever been a part of.
That was a good one. Also the same trip when we were locked in a basement of a purse because Joel Glass wanted to buy a knockoff purse. And we ended up following this guy down at, first we went, where did we go first that night? Oh, we go to a KFC because that's where you get your cheap Rolexes and fake purses.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Lower level
Kentucky Fried Chicken in China, Shanghai. Yeah.
Right. And it was true. You walk downstairs to the KFC and then there was nobody down there except this guy with the fake watches right on the table. I was like, oh, well, this is not happening for me, but you guys go ahead. I'm just going to get a 3-piece. And we'll call it a day. But then when we we still were on the adventure to find Joel a fake purse for his lady friend, and we ended up turning around and we're locked in the basement of this store. That was no good. Turned to Dante. I said, we got to get the hell out of here.
Through a secret door downstairs into a basement, and they locked the door behind us, and the whole thing was filled with purses and Rolexes and all that stuff. And
by Rolexes, by the way, we mean like fake, like Rolexes with 2 L's and 3 X's. Like there's not Rolexes.
But we weren't going to take advantage. We weren't going to let them take advantage of us. We were negotiating hard deals. We weren't going to be taken advantage of over there. But that was probably
I said to Dante, I looked at him, I said, watch the guy deadbolt the door behind us. I tapped Dante on the shoulder. I said, we got to get the hell out of here. This is not going to end well for any of us here. And Joel's haggling over $4 on a purse.
Yeah, let's just pay them and get out of here.
Just buy this thing and go. We got to go.
That, and I think hugging on to our cameraman on a jet ski in the middle of the Caribbean in Guadeloupe was probably about visiting Michael Pietrus, his home. I think was probably about as crazy as it got. All right, but that was it. It's been a lot of fun. Round basketball has taken us a lot of places, that's for sure.
Man, well, do you have time to join us for the quiz, for this trivia?
What is the quiz? Tell me what the quiz is. This is a Lakeland quiz?
It's a Lakeland and Orlando Magic quiz. Yeah.
Oh, my
It's going to be bad when I fail, but Dante,
let's do it.
It's going to be worse for Dante if he fails because he's the play-by-play voice now of the Lakeland Magic. So if he fails, you're really putting him on the spot. That's
a very good point.
I'm just winging it. So,
well, according to my research, I've done a little bit of deep dive in David Steele here. There are 24 players who have represented both the Magic for Orlando and Lakeland. Now, should we have our own version of the Ryder Cup, USA versus Europe? And can you name them? So
We have to name all 24.
Okay.
We're going to go. We'll take it in turns.
Does this mean I got to get a pen for this? I need pen and paper.
All right.
If you wish.
All right.
George,
start Dante. How do you want to do it? What's the format? What's the format, Paul? You go first, and then we go first. What?
You guys can go first. You can have your first go, and then
shout them out until we don't know, or what are we doing here? We get one, and then it's your turn.
Go for one, and then we'll over to the European team.
All right, Dante. Let me start. I'm going to go with Jonathan Isaac. Played 2 games with the Lakeland Magic, so that's
bingo. And I'll go Kem Birch. All
right, that's good. Now, you guys want to go now, or how does this work?
Let's go for Ignas Brisdikis.
Okay.
Yep.
It's a good one.
I'm going to go Weza Wundu.
Good man.
Yes. Wundu.
Okay.
George, how about Troy Copane? You want to go a little Troy Copane?
That's a good one.
Yes, there we go.
Okay. Michael Mulder has played in 1 game with the Lakeland Magic this year, so that's 1.
Nicely. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
G.
Admiral Schofield, British born.
Correct.
I feel like it's too easy now because we have these guys that are up. So you're just gonna.
A lot of them are called up here.
There's a couple that I've got to say I think are a little bit dubious.
Right.
But Mikey, your turn.
Hassani Gravett. Have we said him yet?
No,
he's not on.
You guys want to just go? Hey, if you guys want to go ahead and take a lean forward too, you can do that. Go ahead, take a lean. Since that's the route you guys are taking over there. So take a easy way out.
Take a lean forward as well. Melvin Frazier Jr. Is that one?
Oh, you've gone for my favorite man.
Yeah, Melvin Frazier Jr. We hardly knew he.
What about Jamel Artis? He's got to be one.
Oh, yeah.
Jamel Artis.
Right. That's good. So, Paul, do you have the list in front of you so we know that
do.
You do. Okay.
BJ Johnson, obviously. BJ Johnson would be one of them.
Yep.
BJ Johnson. Yeah. Ford.
Correct.
We gave you Ford. That one's a gimme.
So we got 11 more. And
Devin Kennedy.
Oh, very good.
That's a good one. That's Dante's guy right there. You can't
just taking that out under my feet.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Hold on. Franks. Right? Robert Franks. Yep. Okay.
Good one.
We have him from last year.
Oh, this is where it gets interesting now.
Do we have any
Mikey, are you struggling? You look like this
struggling.
Is your game. This is your idea.
This happens every week.
George,
I get the monkey symbols.
George, what about last year? That Mason, right? What do we have?
Frank Mason, I don't think played for.
No,
he didn't play for
just the Magic.
He didn't play for Lakeland. He just played for Orlando. I was going to say Rodney Purvis was one.
We got Purvis already.
We have Purvis.
Jordan Bone?
Purvis is there.
Okay,
Jordan Bone playing Lakeland.
He's a 2-way player, but I don't know.
Kareem Manet.
That's definitely one.
Yeah, Jordan Bone doesn't appear on that list.
I don't think Jordan Bone played for Lakeland is the thing.
Okay.
Let me catch up a bit.
Thank you. What do we got, Paul? What's our tally?
Okay, 15, hang on. I'm just taking some of these out. We are getting right down them now. Do you want 16. Any clues?
I got 16.
No, you know what? I'm just going to start.
I got one more.
Isaiah
Briscoe.
Isaiah Briscoe.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay. So,
I should have kept Jonathan Isaac in my pocket. I should have had that one.
Let's go with this. Let's go with this guy. Shooting guard, wore number 21 for Orlando, and was signed to a 10-day contract on January the 22nd, 2017, and played twice.
21 in Orlando.
Lamb, Wilcox, CJ Wilcox. Did he go down to the?
I don't think he's on the list. No, Lamb wore 1. 21.
Yeah, he was 2014. Deron Lamb, wasn't he?
2017, played 2 games for us.
That's correct.
Man.
He is now
2017.
Rashad Vaughn,
he is now playing in Turkey.
That doesn't help me at all.
No, it doesn't help.
No.
I mean,
Josh Majette.
Oh, that's one.
He's on the list. He's on the list.
Josh Majette is a good pull. That's a good one.
Josh Majette.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm starting to cheat, so I'm cheating.
Okay,
but I'm here's the bad part: is I'm cheating and I'm still not finding anybody. Is that bad? I'm still not finding.
How many's left on the list, Paul?
what about Marcus George's Hunt? Did he play? Was Marcus George's Hunt a Lakeland guy?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't. Okay.
Hang on, have we had him? No, we've not had him yet either. Okay, I'll give you.
How many are left?
Guy. We're getting down the list.
Okay.
The answer to this guy, ward number 21, is Anthony Brown.
Wow.
Anthony Brown was a Lakeland Magic.
Anthony Brown.
I would not have got that one.
No,
I would not have got that one.
Right.
Okay, so we've had Ford. We've had Robert Frank.
Wait, this game is very.
Fruch.
This game has hit a screech. Oh, Emil Jefferson is one.
Emil
That's
Jefferson.
the next one I've just got to.
That's a
That's
good
a great
one.
one. Yep.
That's a good one.
Yep.
As you can tell now, I'm on the Jays.
We are now talking about a shooting forward. Sorry, shooting forward, a small forward.
Oh, shooting forward.
That's a new one.
What is it? That's a
what's
We can
that?
do it
What's
either
that,
way.
Paul?
We can do it either
We've
way.
got positions here.
shooting forward.
Small forward.
Point
small
center.
Forward, two-way for 2019.
Oh, Vic Law. What about
That's
Vic
the
Law?
man.
That's a
That's
good
the
one.
man.
Okay,
Wow.
that's the one.
We're getting schooled here, G.
I know.
Or George is just cheating.
I told you I'm
he's
cheating. I'm definitely
he's
cheating.
Now, bear in mind, by the way, I've watched every one of these guys play for the Magic, and we're still having trouble. And George has written a press release for every one of these guys.
And I'm still having trouble.
Just bear in mind, this is how hard.
Oh, we got now. I got another one. We got
We
Devin Marble is another one. I'm pretty sure.
Devin
that played for
Marble.
Lakeland. Did Devin Marble play for Lakeland?
Yeah.
Not Lakeland,
We
but
are-
Erie.
That's the-
Erie still.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
works.
that's right.
We
We
are
weren't
now-
in Lakeland yet. We were
No,
in
it wasn't
Erie.
in Lakeland. We are
Dang
down
it,
to
this
the last
game is harder
two.
than I thought. What we
Down
have
to the
two
last
left.
two.
Two guys
left.
left.
So the first one, which is a proper one as far as I'm concerned, 2017 to 2018, he was a two-way, but it was waived by the Magic in January of 2018.
On what position was he?
Ward number 33, a centre.
Oh,
played
Adrian
5
Payne.
games.
Adrian Payne.
Yeah.
Hey, wow, this is amazing. Good.
He was
pull,
one of our
George.
first two-way guys, if I'm not mistaken. I think
Yeah.
when they first started the two-way contract, I think he was one of our first guys. I think. What about Keith Appling? Now that we're on the, did he play in Lakeland?
No.
No, just
No,
just us and then the prison league.
It wasn't on the list anyway that I got from researching with Lakeland.
Okay.
Now, this final one I think is a little bit questionable because he doesn't actually have NBA experience.
Well, then it doesn't count.
Oh, and then it doesn't count. But he was on.
So then the game is over, is what you're saying.
He played preseason.
No,
Preseason
that
for all
doesn't
that.
count. That does not count. Doesn't count.
John Teskey. Is that what you're talking about?
That's the man.
John
You've got
Teskey.
it.
Yeah,
You've got
okay.
it, Dante.
Yeah,
Good
played
stuff, guys.
preseason. Played preseason, but not NBA. Okay, good stuff, guys.
I only had to
Impressive.
cheat for a few. I only had to cheat for a
I'm
couple.
impressed at that. We went through those. That was good stuff.
All right,
Good
guys.
stuff.
Well done. We put it together somehow. Good job. Good
I thought the
job
game was gonna
editing
be-
that. Good job editing that in such a way to make it watchable.
Oh, we just let things flow.
Okay, good.
Usually when you play a game, Dante and I like to keep it to like 1 or 2 answers. So
Oh, no, man.
24.
No, yes.
I like that. I like
Throw
that.
everything in
That
there.
is
and
a
see what comes
legitimate-
out is my motto.
Yes,
24
that's a
must play
legitimate-
overseas, Dante. 24 must play overseas.
I like that. That's a
There's 24
legitimate.
answers.
That's a legitimate quiz. That is a legitimate quiz.
Yeah, there,
Well
there
done.
we go.
Well done, guys.
Well,
Right, that's
Oh, we
question
appreciate
one.
Excellent.
Here's your first.
that's a starter for 10.
Mikey's ranked the top 50 Magic games in history.
No, the top
care to
50
have-
games he's ever been to. But he wants you to guess.
You guys stop
You
doing
care to-
this. As soon as I
care
take
to
a
have a
sip
go
of
with
whiskey,
that?
your pair are coming out with
Have a go with that.
joke.
That's why these answers have 24 these questions have 24 answers. These guys are drinking. I got one, guys. Remember back in 2016? That was amazing.
Okay. Top 45 Christmas songs. Go.
Well, we better let you guys go and get your next press release organised and
Yeah.
segment
Yeah.
for
There you go. I like it.
Unfortunately, there probably will be one coming at some point. So I wish I was not doing that, but that's what it looks like these days. So,
well, guys, we appreciate it. Stay safe. Okay. Always great to see you. Yeah. And this is a blast for us to get to, ever since we first made contact, Garen, years ago. We appreciate meeting you guys and being in touch here, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Or not meeting.
Thank you.
Both.
Hey, virtual meetings, they count. It's the modern way.
They count.
Yeah, that's
so,
right.
Guys, just going to raise a glass to you. Wish you both Merry Christmas and happy
Christmas.
holidays. And
same to you. Merry Christmas
to you guys. Thank you so much for coming on.
Have a great one, guys. Anytime.
Guys, we'll talk
anytime.
What a pair they are. What a pair. Anyway, should we? Well, let's take a look at the predictions and last week's results. I know that we were predicted on 3 games. Connell, Mikey, and G. You had all gone 1 and 2. I went 0 and 3. Magic have gone 1 and 1. I'm happy to give you an honorary win this week, and that will tie us all up nice and level. So, as I say, before we start, I did say I've got to give you all a chance. You know, it's only fair. So I'm good with that. So,
any bonus points
ahead
for getting the correct result, though?
No.
Yeah, mate. No. You did very well. With the benefit of COVID, you did very well. That's the only good thing to come out of it, I guess. You get the Brooklyn result right.
So does that mean the predictions this week we have to predict if any games have been cancelled as well?
Well, as you can tell by certain Santa hats and magic Christmas jumpers, we're recording this just prior to Christmas. It's December the 21st, and we record again on the 29th. So between that time, fixtures allowing through COVID, we have four games. We play Atlanta on the road Wednesday, UK tip of 12:30 a.m. Thursday. Then we are on the road again into New Orleans on a back-to-back, playing Thursday. That's a midnight tip Friday in the UK. Then it's a short hop down to Miami on Boxing Day. For the Americans, that's 26th. They don't do Boxing Day, do they? 8:30 p.m. UK tip and live on Sky Sports. So it'll be nice to see the Magic get a victory on national TV over our state rivals for the pride of Florida. And then finally, we return home on the 28th, Tuesday. Is it 28th? Yeah, 28th, to play the Milwaukee Bucks. And that is also a midnight UK tip on Wednesday morning. So, predictions for the week. Mikey, would you like to go first?
I would like to go first, and I'm going to go 1 and 3.
Who we beating?
We're going to beat the Pelicans because they are pants, mate.
In-depth NBA analysis from Mikey there. They are pants. You wonder why we asked Connell to go on to Orlando Magic Sound Off in our place.
Yeah. Yeah, the Pelicans.
And just to say, if you haven't already watched that, check it out off of our links on social media. Connell went on and did a cracking job representing the UK. Some really good basketball talk with Mackenzie on there. So, yeah, check that out. Mikey, carry on.
I'm done. No, joking. No, I think we'll beat the Pelicans. Although they have won their last 2 games, they're just hovering above us in 28th position in the league. So I'm going to play the percentages. I'm going to say we're going to win that game. I still think we're going to be competitive against Atlanta and Miami, providing we can get some players back off these COVID protocols, and hopefully we might see, we keep saying it every week, we might see Markel this week. We might see Cole return, hopefully, in Bamba, but hey, we'll see. But yeah, I think we'll beat the Pelicans and we will be competitive in the Hawks and Heat games. But Milwaukee, it's going to be a tough game, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. G, what are we going for, man?
I'm going to second what Mikey's just said. I'm just looking at it now. And other than looking at... Atlanta today released, I think Capella's gone down with COVID, and I believe Gallinari, who's a bit of a magic killer, has too. Trae Young's in COVID protocols.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at their roster, and they're depleted. I don't know what Kevin Huerter's doing, because he always hurts us. As Mikey said, the New Orleans Pelicans are pants. So there's always a chance of beating them. And we have, in fairness, I think we've beaten them the last couple of times in New Orleans. That just seems to stick out.
The Pels are one of them teams that we get results against.
We beat them in blue, we beat them in white. New Orleans, we always beat you. That song doesn't go. That was like a Cardiff City League song, wasn't it? I'm also going to stick at 1 and 3 because I don't think we've beat Milwaukee. Miami's on the road, and we're against 5 plus the officials. So let's go with 1 and 3 again. And just to be a little bit different from Mikey, I'll say we'll beat Atlanta. But
that's not going the same then. You said you were going the same at the beginning.
But in my heart, I think we'll beat New Orleans. But I'm just trying to be different. Right. So I'll say Atlanta, but New Orleans is the team I think we beat.
I'm just playing with you.
And Paul?
Check this. I'm going 2 and 2.
What?
Ooh, I like it.
Oh, Paul, come on.
I'm going 2 and 2. I genuinely fancy us against Atlanta.
Yeah?
I think as having those couple of days off with the Raptors game having been postponed, it gives us the possibility of seeing perhaps Wendell coming back, perhaps Cole. If we could get either of those two back into the starting rotations, it will have a huge effect. I think the benefit of a couple of days off for the Lakeland guys, as we've already mentioned, they played 4 games in 5 days. They will benefit from just being able to rest the old bones. So I think I just fancy it. And like you've said, New Orleans is one of those results. I did actually have a little think about going 3 and 1 and us beating Miami as well. We were competitive against them.
How much you been drinking, Paul?
Not enough to go 3 and 1, just 2 and 2. I'm going 2 and 2, mate. I'm riding the wave of positivity that the Brooklyn win gave us.
I like it. That's
where I'm going.
And
there's no tactical voting involved either.
No, I'm just going with it, man. I do actually fancy us to get a result.
It's a possibility. Yeah, absolutely. Thing is, because of COVID and people being in and out of every single team at the moment, it's almost like rolling the dice which way games could go at the moment.
Atlanta's whole offense is run through Trae Young. That's a huge loss for them. Mm-hmm. If Clint Capella has gone down, like you were saying, G, then again, you're taking away a lot of points from the rebound, the second chance points from them. So I think we've got a chance. So I'm going 2 and 2. Yeah.
I like it.
Brave. Look at that. So, listen, as always, we just want to say thank you for listening and watching. You can find all our links and in the description to our website at orlandomagicuk.com. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, all under Orlando Magic UK. Please subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a review, your comments, questions. We love to hear from you. As always, I'm not going to labour the plug this week, but as you know, we are affiliated to NBA League Pass, NBA Store EU, and to Fanatics. Click off of our links on social media, and it helps us do what we do. If it's Fanatics or NBA Store, then don't forget to put the code in Magic UK 10. Allows you 10% discount on certain things. There are restrictions that apply, though let's be fair, sometimes there are better offers available, but do it for us. So from us all at Orlando Magic UK, we just want to wish you and your families a very Merry Christmas. Hope that Christmas is full of magic for you all. And so until next time, go Magic.